the topic, every group had the same topic to follow. This is the coursework, and the coursework could be I will announce the and give an announcement and explain about the coursework as soon as possible after I receive it from the UK professor. Who did not check attendance? Tell me your name. Not me. Okay. Me. Do you have any question about group registration? Any questions? Okay, so remember, register the group as soon as possible. And in one group, we should have some student who have a good programming skill. So you have a more chance to pass the subject. And some student, if you are not so good in programming, you can do tester or you can write a report or something like that. And suddenly, if you not join the code, not join the coding, your grade will be not high. The student who join the who join programming have a chance to get the high grade. Then the student just do some simple tasks so that tester draw diagram. And I hope that in every group we have a good student, normal student, and not good student. So everyone can pass the subject. It means that not all of the good students join in one group. So if all of the good students in one group, there will be some students not good to form one group, and they had a chance to fail because no one have a good at programming skill. Okay, now we will start the lesson. In the first lesson, we study about the Ajay Scrum. This one, before the Tết holiday. But I think that most of you already forgot the content about Ajay Scrum, even though this is a very important content in our course. So before I move to the new lesson, I will spend the time to revise. Okay? I will spend the time to revise about Agile Scrum, overview about Agile Scrum before I move to the new content. And in one team, in one group, we should have one student who is responsible for Scrum Master. Scrum Master. It means that you are the person who have a more knowledge, more understanding about Agile Scrum. So you can ask at Scrum Master. So what is Scrum? We know that Scrum is a software development lifecycle methodology so that got the phone or V model. Scrum it is the name of the framework for Agile. In Agile, we have many types of process, and Scrum it is the most popular and famous. The most popular and famous. Normally, when we use Agile, we use with Agile Scrum. So Scrum is one type of Agile. Scrum it is the name of an Agile process that allows us to focus, to concentrate, to deliver the highest business value in the shortest time. So two advantages of Scrum is that we get the highest business value in the shortest time. It means that if we follow Agile Scrum, we can finish the project so that the software project shorter. For example, maybe with a normal project, we will finish in 3 months. But now, if you follow Agile Scrum, strictly follow, you may finish in 2.5 months. So it could be shorter than the normal project, and it will give you the chance to get the high business value, the better quality, and certainly it will help you to get more money. This is the benefit if we apply Agile Scrum when we do software project. With Agile Scrum, it will allow us to rapidly and repeatedly to inspect the actual working software. Two advantages of Agile Scrum: rapid, very fast, because pick up the sprint in the Scrum, it just happened from 2 weeks to maximum 1 month. We haven't no 2 months or 3 months. If your project long lasting for 3 months, it means that we have a 3 sprint. One sprint is just 2 weeks to 1 month. 2 weeks to 1 month. So it is a suitable time for one duration, not too short or not too long. And after you finish one sprint in Agile Scrum, you need to deliver something that can work. You deliver to the customer so that you develop a website. After 2 weeks or 1 month, you need to deliver at least the initial website that some feature already work, and the other feature you can complete later. It is different from traditional waterfall method, because with the traditional waterfall method, the development team only deliver the final product at the end of the project. However, with Agile Scrum, you have a more pressure, because after 2 weeks to 1 month, you need to deliver a part of the product to the customer, and it can work. This is the most important. Not a draft version, but a part of the work and a part of the product, and it must be work. You develop a mobile app application, so at least some feature in the mobile application can work, not a prototype. With Agile Scrum, the business will set the priority. The team is a self-organized. It means that no leader, no manager in Agile team, so that we can determine the best way to deliver the highest priority. The highest priority feature. Because in one software project or software application, there will be a lot of feature. So that you develop an e-commerce website, you have a login feature, shopping cart, online payment, or something like that. And when you apply Agile Scrum, you need to determine which one is more important than the other, so that you will focus and concentrate on the more important feature first, and the other feature not so important you can do later. This is how Agile Scrum works. And remember, every 2 weeks to 1 month, anyone can see the real working software. This is the outstanding of Agile Scrum. You must give something that it must be worked after 2 weeks to 1 month, so that you define your project into 3 parts. For the first part, you do in the sprint number 1. The second part, you do in sprint number 2. And the last part, you do in the sprint number 3. After you finish 3 sprints, you already complete your own project. So after 1 sprint, it means that after 2 weeks to 1 month, the development team will deliver the product to the customer, and then they will discuss together whether this is okay or not okay, good or not good. Is there something that we need to modify in the next sprint or not? This is also another different with waterfall. With waterfall, the team only discuss with the customer at the first time when we do requirement gathering. However, with Agile Scrum, we meet the customer more frequently to discuss about the current progress of the project, so that we can easily update, modify our software, our product, so it can satisfy all of the requirement, all of the demand of the customer. I just ignore something not so important, because all the thing we already learned. This is just for revision. Some main characteristic of Agile Scrum is self-organizing. Everyone is fair. Everyone is similar. No one is leader. The development process to develop a product, it will progress in the series of month long, a half a month or 1 month. Each of the series, we call it the sprint. 1 sprint, 2 sprint, or 3 sprint. Normally, the requirement will be captured at the list. But in Agile Scrum, it will be a little bit different. All of the requirement will be captured and put in the product backlog. We call it the product backlog, not the requirement. It's in the product backlog. It means that all of the item you must complete during the project time. This is product backlog. It may include the requirement, and you know that the requirement it will lead to the product feature. For example, the requirement is I want to log in. So in the product, we must have the feature to log in. And you will put all of them at the list in product backlog. And product backlog not only contain the requirement, it also contain the other. And what inside the product backlog, we will study in the next slide. After we finish this one, we will move to product backlog. With Agile Scrum, there will be no specific, no detail or clear engineering practice prescribed, and you can use some generative rule to create an Agile environment to deliver the project. And remember, Scrum is just one of the Agile processes. We still have the other type of Agile process, but Scrum it is the most famous and the most popular. Just remember, Scrum it is a framework for Agile. A framework for Agile. It is in some case it's quite similar to the language and the framework. For example, I code Java and I want to use Java to code website. So Java it is the name of programming language, and the framework I use to code the website with Java it is Java Spring. So this is the same. Agile it is the name of the development life cycle, and Scrum it is the framework of Agile. When you study Agile, you need to remember and understand 4 Agile manifesto. The first one, individual and interaction must be more important than process and the tool. It's easy to understand because we know that the human, okay, I mean the people, the person, a human is the person who, the people who really do the project, who write the source code, who make the documentation, who do everything to complete the project. So individual and interaction between the individual in the team, it could be more important than which process we use and which tool we use or which language. It doesn't matter that what programming language we use, what software we use. You use Java, PHP, .NET, not so important. You use VS Code, IntelliJ, PHP Storm, also not important. The most important is individual. The capability of individual, whether you are good at programming or not, and do you have the good and close interaction with the other, because we work in the team. Working in a team is a totally different working individual. When we work in a team, we still have a lot of advantages, so that the work allocation will be shorter. If you work individual, maybe you need 1 month But now because you work in the group, you only need 1 week. Your work will be lower. You are more free. You have a more chance to complete the project. You can finish the project shorter and easier. But if we have some conflict in the project, in the team, it will lead to the difficulty and complexity when we complete the project. So in Agile, we must have each individual should have a good capability, and we have a good interaction, good communication between individual in one team, so that we can support them, we can support each other, we can cooperate with each other more effectively to complete the project sooner and better. The second one, the working software. When we develop a software, we need to develop the software that it can work, it must be work. Documentation is still important, so that the user guide, the guide for the developer, it means that the code explanation is also important. But the most important when you develop a project is whether you can deliver, you can produce, you can create the software and it can work or not. It can work or not, or it contains the error. If you develop a software successfully without any error, it's only successful. And the documentation, it is not so important as a software that can work. The third one is the customer collaboration. Customer collaboration. We cooperate with the customer. This is the one of the main difference between Agile and waterfall. We have a close collaboration or cooperation, frequent meeting with the customer. There could be a lot of meeting between customer and development team to discuss about the current and the real situation for it, for the developing project, so that the customer can give the feedback, the idea, and support the development team to develop the product better. And customer collaboration, it must be over or more important than the contract negotiation. When you do a good contract negotiation, you may receive more benefit. Okay, more benefit, you may get more money, a lot of things. It is also important, but good collaboration with the customer, it is better. The next one, in Agile, respond to the trend. Respond to the trend. It is still more important, more critical than we still always following the plan. At first, you create a clear and detailed plan. Okay, and certainly it is important, because everything we do, we need the plan. We start, for example, we start the project at the day 1, and we try to finish the project at the day 30. Start from day 1 and finish at day 30. But we know that when we do the project, there may appear some unexpected problem, so that the bug, the error, and it will take you longer time to debug, to fix it. So it will lead to that the plan may be changed. Or when you discuss with the customer, they want to change something in the software, in the product. So you need to adapt with it. You need to respond to it as soon as possible. You need to respond to the trend suitably and fastly, so that we can easily update the product to satisfy the demand customer, or to adapt with the real situation. So responding to the trend, very important. The next one is the project noise level. Okay, in the project noise level, it talks about the relationship between requirement and the technology. If you can go to the close agreement for the requirement with the customer and the close to the certainty of the technology, you will feel that the project is quite simple. You are familiar with the technology. So you are the good coder in PHP. You already familiar with PHP, and you got the close agreement about the requirement with the customer. Easy. But if the technology is far from certainty, you're not sure about this technology, you're just good at PHP, but you need to develop a project using Java. So you feel that it is more complex. Along with the far from agreement for the requirement, the project will become more complicated and more complex. This is the project noise level. And certainly, everyone on the way want to make the noise level become as low as possible. It means that as simple as possible. This is the figure to represent for the Agile Scrum, how Agile Scrum works. We will start the Scrum by define many sprints. Normally, it is 2 sprints, 3, 4, 5. It depends on the scope of the project, and it also depends on the duration of your project. We start from the product backlog. It contains the list of the requirement, the list of requirement, the list of the bug you want to debug, and it may contain the technology you want to train or something like that. For each of the sprint, you could take out some item in the product backlog, and you put it into the sprint backlog to finish some goal in this sprint. And you run one sprint in 2 to 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, a half a month to 1 month. And after one day, you have a daily meeting in 24 hours, a daily meeting in 24 hours. After finish one sprint, you need to create potentially shippable product increment. You must deliver something that already works, not a prototype, not a draft version, not the idea. Okay, it must be a real product. It can work. You deliver to the customer. Certainly, it is not complete, but it must be work. It must work. This is the requirement of Agile Scrum. And now we're putting on it together with a clearer figure to easier understand about Agile Scrum. This is the product backlog. Okay? You can consider this is the bigger one, the big one. You take out each of them, you put in the smaller one. It is the sprint backlog. So that in the product backlog, you have a 10 item, and you have a 2 sprint. So the first sprint, you may take out 7, and the second, you only need to complete the 3 remain. What I mean is that the total item in sprint backlog for all of the sprint, all of the backlog in every sprint, it will be equal to the total product backlog, because this is the big one, this is the smaller one. We run the sprint for a half to 1 month, and we got a daily meeting after 24 hours, daily Scrum meeting for all of the members in the team to discuss about what we have done, what we have not done, is there any difficulty. This is the daily Scrum meeting. And in the real life, it's quite difficult to help and conduct a daily Scrum meeting. For example, you are the student, and different students stay in different location. You are in different class. You have some. It's difficult to make the daily meeting, but in the real life, if you work in the same company, okay? If you work in the same company, you can conduct the daily Scrum easier if you work in the same company. And finally, you need to deliver something that can work deliver to the customer to get the feedback. And after you finish all of the sprint, it should be the final product, at the end. So what is sprint? One sprint is one stage in the whole development process. Your project may contain 1, 2, or many sprints, but normally at least 2 sprints. And the Scrum project will make the progress in the series or the collection of many sprints. It could be analogous to the upstream programming iteration. And typically, the duration for one sprint is just 2 to 4. Because if 1 week it is too short to do anything, or 2 months it is too long to complete something. So 2 weeks to 4 weeks is the suitable time, a typical duration. Yeah. Typical duration for finish everything. And the constant duration will lead to the better rim. You should have the same duration for every Scrum. For example, if you set the Scrum, the sprint number 1 is 2 weeks, the next sprint it should be also 2 weeks. Or if you set 4 weeks, every sprint will be 4 weeks. It will lead to the better rim. And for each sprint, the product will be get the required again, design again, code again, and test again. We just make the loop iteration. Okay. Loop and loop. This is represent for the difference between the sequential and overlapping development. Sequential and overlapping development. One example of sequential development is waterfall. 1 by 1, it means sequential. We do require, then we do design, then we code, and finally we test. It is the traditional way. But when we do overlapping, it means that we talk about iteration or the loop. Do and do again. So the idea in this case, rather than doing one thing at a time, the Agile Scrum team will do a little of everything all the time. When you work with Agile, remember, there should be no change. If you already inside a sprint, you are working in one sprint, do not make any change. If you want to make any change, you should do it in the next sprint, not in the current sprint. And about the Scrum Framework, we have 3 components: the role, the ceremony, and the artifact. There are 3 components in a Scrum Framework. The first one, let's talk about the role. What are the different roles in Agile team? The first one is the product owner. Product owner, as the name, who owns the product, and he or she will be responsible for the feature of the product. Who will define the product feature? It means that what the product can do, what this software can do, what this website can do. This is the feature. And he also decides the release date and the content. He is responsible for the profitability of the product. It means the ROI. And he can make prioritize feature. It means that set the priority for different feature based on the market value. You are the developer. You want to develop something new that the market is still okay. For example, the hot trending at this moment is AI and big data, and you do something related to AI and big data, and suddenly you will focus. You need to concentrate and focus on the feature related to the market value. If the market require A, you do A. The market require B, you do B, and you will set the priority. Which one is better? Which one is on the demand from the market, you put in the first priority. And for the something that the market value is low, you can set it lower priority. More important, higher priority, less important, and lower priority. This is the way the product owner set the priority, and he or she can adjust the feature and the priority after each iteration if necessary. And finally, very important, he or she the person who accept or reject the work result. In the real life, in the industry, the commercial, with the commercial software, product owner maybe the customer who pay the money for you to develop the software, or the director of an IT company. It is the product owner. However, we are working in the student project, not the real project. So you can consider I am the product owner. I am the product owner because I deliver the feature of the product. I will give you the feedback, and I also accept or reject the work result. If you develop a website, a web application, it is good, it's satisfied of the requirement, I will accept your work. But if your work it is not good, not satisfy the requirement, I will reject the work and you will fail. If I accept your work, it means that your work is okay and you had a chance to pass. But if your work it is not good, your application not satisfy the requirement, I will reject your work and you will fail. So in your team, there will be no product owner because I will play the role as the product owner in this code. The second in the team, the Scrum Master, very, very important. Certainly, the most important is coder or developer, because coder or developer is the person who really writing the code to make it work. But Scrum Master is also important. If you apply the Agile Scrum, the Scrum Master will represent for the management of the project. In some case, we can consider the Scrum Master it is the project manager. Even though in one Agile team, we have no leader, but you can consider the Scrum Master is the project manager. He is the person, he is the expert in Agile Scrum. He have more knowledge, more understanding. Okay? He have take the research on the Scrum, so he understand. One student understand about Agile Scrum, then the other. You can play the role as the Scrum Master, and you will make the guide for every member in your team to strictly follow Agile Scrum. So you can complete the project when you apply the Agile Scrum. This is the purpose. Okay, this is the role of the Scrum Master. In another way, the Scrum Master will responsible for everything related to Agile Scrum. It is the Scrum Master. Next one is the team. Thirdly, the team is also important. Beside the product owner or the Scrum Master, we need the team. Typically, the team is from 5 to 9 people. We may have a programmer, a tester, coder, technical leader, database administrator, front-end designer, a lot of roles. And one member may play the cross-functional. It means that one member will be both as programmer and also designer. It's okay. And if you play many roles, many important roles in your team, and your contribution is high, you will get the high grade. But the student or the member who should play less important role, so that tester, tester, certainly your grade could be not high. All of the members should be full-time, so that all of you work in the same company. Just some exception, so that the database admin, it should be exception. And the team should be self-organizing. It is better that we have no leader in the team. If necessary, you should have the leader, but if not so necessary, everyone will be fair. And if you want to change the membership, it means that you want to change some member in your team. It should only happen between the sprint number 1 or sprint number 2, and during or inside the sprint. Never change the membership. Okay. The second component in the Scrum Framework, it is the ceremony. Ceremony will include the sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, daily Scrum meeting. The first one is sprint planning meeting. We have some input and some output. The input is the team capacity, product backlog, busy condition, current product, and technology. We go one by one. So the first one is team capacity. It means how many members in your team? 4, 5, 6, 7. It is the team capacity. But this is the total team member. But when we join the meeting, maybe there are not all of the students join the meeting, so that 3 over 5 members join, 3 over 5. So you need to take the note that how many students in the total join this meeting. You need to take note in the meeting minute, and you list all of the product backlog. You put the business condition, talk about the current product, it is good or not good, is there any problem, and you talk about the technology you use. This is the input for the meeting. And what will you do in the sprint planning? You do the sprint prioritization, that you need to analyze, to evaluate the product backlog, and then you need to select the sprint goal. The second is the sprint planning. It will help you to design how to achieve the sprint goal. It means that you do the design step, and then you create the sprint backlog. It means the task. Some tasks in the sprint backlog, you need to list the task, what you need to do in the detail, so that do front end, do back end, do database. It is the task. You create the sprint backlog from the product backlog item based on the user story or the feature, and then you make the estimation for the sprint backlog in hours. How long you may take to complete one task in sprint, and the outcome of the sprint planning meeting is the sprint goal and the sprint backlog. This is the outcome. The next one is the sprint planning. Sprint planning. In the sprint planning, the team will select all of the items from the product backlog they can commit to complete, and then the sprint backlog is critic. The task will be identified, and each of them will be estimated from 1 to 16 hours. Normally, the minimum is 1 and the maximum is 16 hours in one day. And collaborative, we not done alone by the Scrum Master. It means that the task to plan the work in the sprint, it is not done alone by the Scrum Master, mainly responsible by the Scrum Master, but all of the member in the team should discuss together to do the sprint planning, not only done by the Scrum Master. And in this case, in this step, we should consider about the high-level design. High-level design should be considered. For example, I had to do the story. This is from the product backlog. So that as a vacation planner, I want to see the photo of the hotel. I want to see the photo of the hotel. Then I can code the middle tier, code the user interface, write the test feature, code the full class, and update the performance test. Just a simple and basic feature. But if you want to complete them, you need to define the task in more detail. Set code front end, code back end, code database. Because if you just say that the task you need to do is show the photo of the hotel, it's unclear. Okay, the feature is show the photo of the hotel, and it is the role of the vacation planner. But how can you show the photo of the hotel? Now what you need to do. You need to clarify about it, not just write generally. For example, if you want to log in, how can you log in? If you want to log in, you need to do this one and then this one, step by step, and then you clarify. Okay, so that code the user interface. Who is responsible for it? Member A, member B, or member C? You need to clarify, right? About the daily Scrum, it should be daily at the end. It should be happen every working day. The maximum duration is 15 minutes, and all of the people who join should stand up, not sit down. It is not for problem solving. This meeting is not for problem solving. You can invite any people if they have the interest in your project. However, only the team member, the Scrum Master, the product owner can talk, so that it can help to avoid the other unnecessary meeting in the future. In this meeting, the daily meeting, everyone must answer 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? It means that what you already complete. What will you do today? It means that what is your plan to complete the remain feature? And the next one is anything in your way. It means that do you get any trouble, any error, any problem when you to do the project or not? You need to clarify. And remember that they are not the status for the Scrum Master. They are just the commitment in the front of the whole team. For example, you talk about what will you do today? You say that, okay, today I will finish the login function. And this is your commitment. Yeah? You commit, you promise that today you must finish login. You talk about your commitment. Another type of meeting in Agile, it is the sprint review. Sprint review, that means that the team will present what it accomplished during the sprint, what we have accomplished, what we have done during the sprint. And typically, because the form of this meeting is the demonstration, not the presentation. It is the demonstration of the new feature. One product, one software may have a lot of feature, and who responsible for which feature, you need to make the demonstration about that. Okay, student A do login, so you need to make the demonstration for login. Student B do shopping cart, you need to make demonstration for shopping cart. You don't need to prepare the slide, just demonstration. The maximum is 2 hours. Everyone can participate, and you can invite everyone. The whole team, every member in the team must join, and you can invite the other to join. The next one is Spring. The Spring retrospective. Spring retrospective, it means that after we will done and conduct the meeting after every sprint, this meeting should be happen from 15 to 30 minutes. The whole team will participate, from the Scrum Master, product owner, the team, and maybe you can invite the customer and the other. This is the meeting about the sprint retrospective, to revise what you have done, what you have accomplished in the previous sprint. It is sprint retrospective. What will you do? What will you discuss about in Scrum, the sprint retrospective? You talk about start, stop, and continue. There are many ways to conduct the meeting, and this is just one way to conduct and do a sprint retrospective. You discuss about start doing. Start doing, what does it mean? You talk about your plan. What will you do? We will start doing the remain feature, the missing feature, the feature that we have not implemented yet. This is start doing. How about stop doing? Stop doing means that you talk about the thing, every feature you already complete and it run without any error. The customer satisfied about it. It is stop doing, because you already complete. You don't need to continue with it. You can stop. And the last one is continue. For anything that you have not complete, you need to continue with them in the next sprint. It is start, stop, and continue. The last component in the Scrum framework is the artifact. Artifact will include the pro backlog. We will learn more about the pro backlog in the next slide. There will be one slide to talk about the pro backlog and explain with you more about the pro backlog. An easy way to think about pro backlog is the requirement. Only the requirement. And pro backlog, it contains the list of undesired work of the project, and you can express some item that had the value to the user or the customer of the product, anything that the customer care about. And we must set the priority, and it should be set by the product owner. Set the priority. Priority means that which one more important we do first, which one less important we do later. And at first, after you set the priority, you see that it is not so it is not so proper, not suitable. You can reorder the priority in the start of the next sprint. You can reprioritize in the start of the next sprint. And this is an example of the sample pro backlog. It will include the backlog item in the list of this is in the list of requirement, and the estimation, I mean the duration, how long you need to complete this item, this task. And this is just a sample. It is not enough. If you just use this table to include in the report, it is not enough. What you need to do is, another example pro backlog is more complex. So that this one, you need to clarify the prioritization. This one, okay, high or low or medium. You need to set it, and then just talk about the estimation. How long? Okay. This one easy, 1 day. Or you set it in hour. This one easy, 3 hours. This one is more difficult, 5 hours. This one is totally difficult. Okay, you set it at 20 hours. This is an example. And which one is more important based on the priority? You put it in the first sprint. Set in the sprint number 1, on of the high, Sprint number 2, you do all of the medium. And sprint number 3, you do all of the thing that is low, right? Because we always select something important, do first, not important, we do later. Another example about the pro backlog, set this one, a very detailed pro backlog. You can base on it to create your own pro backlog. It should display at the user story as I want to be able to show that what I receive and set the priority. It may be high, low, or medium, or you can set it must, should, or could. And what is the string you want to implement this item, and the status of the task. Okay, the status of this item or the status of task, it should be done or not done, or to be static, complete or not complete. And certainly this product backlog should be updated frequently in the status, because at first everything will be to be static, and if you are working on with this, you will put it in the work in the progress, and for all of the things you already complete, you could put it done. This is just one example for pro backlog. You should put more and more detail. The next one is the Springboard. This is the purpose of the Spring. There are many Spring in an Agile development process, and each of the Spring you may have a different goal, so that you can make the separation that the Spring number 1, you do everything related to the front end. Spring number 2, you do everything related to the back end. Or Spring number 1, you do everything belong to the user feature. Spring number 2, you do everything belong to the admin feature. This is just one guide for you to follow. And the goal of the Spring is the short statement of what of the work will be focused on during the Spring, so that database application, the purpose is make the application run on SQL Server in addition to Oracle. And how can we manage the Spring backlog? Individual can sign up for the work of their own choosing, and the work is never assigned. Very important. Why the work is never assigned? It means that are not assigned. Okay, student 1 do A, student B, student 2 do the task B, student 3 do the task C. No, the work is never assigned in Spring, but you will sign up. You talk about your interest, what you can do, and you will sign up for the work you want to do. So that this one, Spring backlog. Okay, an example. So that this one. Here, you see, based on the user story, you define into different tasks, and then you talk about the owner. Who is responsible to do this one? So that login, who do login, who do shopping cart, who do authorization. You write the name of the person who responsible for it. And in this column, you can set 1, 2, or many. So that this is a simple, one student is enough, but this is very complex feature. You need 2 or 3 students to join together. So you need to join, you put the owner here. And it should be that free to sign up. Better programming skill, you sign up for difficult thing, but medium or low level of coding, you should sign up for free or easy, low complexity level. always remember to update the work remaining. This one. Work remaining for the total duration and how many percent. You should set at how many percent. Okay, today you finish 50%, but for the next week, when I meet you again, you talk about your progress, you must say that I already finished 100%, for example. It means that the estimate work remaining must be updated daily. In the sprint backlog management, any team member can add, can delete, can change the sprint backlog, and we can work for the sprint immerse. If the work is unclear, we will define the sprint backlog item with the larger amount of the time and break it down later. We can also update the work remaining as more become known. Anyone can join. Anyone can make the more modification for the sprint backlog item. And this is an example about the sprint backlog. It looks like this one. Yeah. But this one is more detailed. This is the compact version. Is it not enough? We talk about what are the tasks you need to do. What are the days you do? How many hours you spend for each day to complete this task. And finally, is it the sprint burn down chart? This is also a very important diagram you need to include in the report, the group report, the sprint burn down chart. Yeah, sprint burn down chart. Sprint burn down chart. Okay. You can use a lot of tools on the internet, yeah, to create the chart for yourself. What you need to do is just fill in the information inside, and it will help you to draw the burn down chart. A lot of tools you can get from the internet, or you can use Excel. Excel can help you to draw the burn down chart. Burn down chart. What is burn down chart? Burn down chart it will represent for the working process from the first day until the last day. And remember, the burn down chart it always go from top to bottom, because when you are on the top, you have a lot of time, a lot of work to do, and when you at the end, you have no more time to do, and you already complete the project. So it should be go from up to down. To draw this diagram, you can base on the sprint backlog table, to draw this one. Next one is scalability. For the typical individual team, it should be from 5 to 9. And the scalability should come from team to team. You can make the team bigger in the future by join small team with small team, we get the bigger team. And there are 4 factors in scaling. You can scale beyond the type of the application: web app, mobile app, desktop app, different type of application. We have a different criteria to scale. Not application can scale in the future. And about the team size, whether it can scale in the future or not, the team dispersion and the project duration. This is 4 factors to scale a project. And the Scrum has been used on the multiple of more than 500 persons in one project, very big project. It looks like this one. Okay. This is scaling through Scrum of the Scrum. And this is Scrum of the Scrum of the Scrum, 3 levels: Scrum, and Scrum. This is scaling. Yeah, and this is on an overview about the Agile Scrum. You know about the Agile Scrum. You can read more about Agile Scrum in the slide. Yeah, in that slide. The slide is already available. The link for reference available in the slide. And where you can download the slide? In Google Classroom when you go to Google Classroom, I put the material here. The material, you can click here. The slide for each week has been uploaded, and you can download it and read it to understand more about Agile Scrum. Now we have a small story before we have a short break. Let's talk about the chicken and the pig. This is a funny story between the chicken and the pig when they want to do the business together, and it will lead to the relevant to the Agile project management. Okay, let's go to the story. A pig and a chicken are walking down the road. The chicken say, "Hey pig, I was thinking we should open the restaurant. We should do the business together." This is the idea from the chicken. The pig will reply, maybe what would we call it? It means that what is the name we should set for our restaurant? The chicken respond, how about ham and eggs? Ham and eggs. The pig think for a moment, and then it reply, no, thank you. I would be committed to this business, but you could only be involved. I commit, but you only involved. You should not commit to it. So from this story, what are the relevant to the Agile project management we can get? The first one, the pig are totally committed to the project, and it could be accountable for its outcome. It makes the fully commitment, many contributions, so it should be accountable. It should get its outcome. The chicken only consult on the project, and it will be informed about its progress, not get the outcome. By the extension, there may be one more animal. It is the rooster. Rooster in this case is the person who stood around to offer an informed, unhelpful, unrelated, unnecessary opinion. So finally, we can make the conclusion. To develop a successful project, we need both of the chicken, who are the consultant, okay, who are the consultant, and the pig, who are the commitment, who do the commitment, and rooster, we should ignore the rooster because the rooster are seen as unproductive. You see, they are usually in the project. We just need the chicken and the pig only. So this is the relevant between the story between the chicken and the pig with the Agile project management. Do you have any question about Agile Scrum? Any question? Do the lecture like customer here? I got a question from Văn Minh. Do lecture like customer here? You mean that the lecturer, okay? The lecturer. It means I am the lecturer, where the lecturer like the customer. Yeah. So your question is asked about the product owner. This one. You ask about the product owner. Okay. Yeah, you ask about the product owner. And I said product owner is the person who define the feature of the product. And in most of the case, the product owner is the customer. The product owner is the customer because the customer is the person who pays the money for the development team to develop the software project. And if this is a commercial project, we develop a software without any order from the customer. You have some idea, you develop as become the real project, you develop, you create the software, and you want to buy it. So you are the product owner. Normally, the product owner is in this case, the product owner is the project manager or the director of the company. And as I said, in Discord, I play the role as the product owner because I give the requirement for the product, and you are the development team. You need to develop it beyond my requirement. So you can consider, in this case, I am the product owner. I'm similar to the customer in this case. Not totally the same, but a little bit similar. So it means that in your owner group, there will be no student. It should be no student. Set the role as the product owner. Okay? No student. You should have a Scrum Master only. Are you clear? Okay, so we had a break time before we start.